How's it going, YouTube? Right, we've just fitted the windows. They're now all done. Right, before we start tidying up in here, because there's all little metal flakes all over the floor, what I want to do is I want to cut the last 2 holes out, which are in the roof. What we've got to put in the roof is a Maxxair fan deluxe and a Maxxair Skymaxx roof light. Right, what I want to do is I want to try and get these as far apart as possible and still be practical, obviously, so I can get the biggest solar panel I can in the middle. I'm hoping for about 400 watts of solar. What I want to do is I want to have the fan at the front and a roof light at the back, so I can open the roof light to get a bit of fresh air in when I want. But if we want a bit of circulation, we've got the fan. We can start the fan running, we can make it go in or out, and then it'll circulate the air how I want it to circulate at that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Maxxfan Deluxe at the front and the roof light at the back. Right, so if we have a look at this front here, most of the roof, what you'll see is it's ribbed here. But what we've got right at the front is a really convenient spot here that's pretty relatively flat. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fit the fan in there. At the back of the vehicle, it's going to have to be in a ribbed panel. If I grab the ladder, we'll go up on the roof, I'll show you what I mean. Right, up here, look at the front, you can see this raised a bit. This is relatively flat. There's 3 panels there in the middle that are sticking up. What we should find is when I cut it out, it should sit in between here. We'll have a look when we go to mark it out and I'll explain exactly what I mean there. First job we've got to do is we've got to clean all this off. At the back of the van, you can see what I mean about these ribbed panels here. What a lot of people do is they get a bit of sealant and they build it up to make it nice and flat. We're not going to do that. We're going to use an adapter plate because it's a lot better. I'll show you the adapter plate. Right, this is all from Magnum motorhomes, by the way. This plate is as well. This is a Fiamma adapter frame, Ducato Vent 40. What it means by 40 is it's a 400mm square, which is exactly what we need for this. If you have a look on the bottom, it's got these ribbed profiles and it's nice and flat on top. So what we can do is we can seal this to the van and then it'll give us a nice flat area to lay our Skylight on. These ones at Magnum motorhomes are really cheap, because when you look around eBay and stuff like that for these things, these are ridiculously expensive, but they're a lot cheaper on Magnum motorhomes. So what we're going to do first is we're going to fit this Maxxfan Deluxe. Let's take it out of the box, let's have a look and see what we get. Right, what we get in the box is we obviously get the fan itself. We get a little remote control unit here, and it's got a little bracket to mount it to the wall. Fixing screws and instructions. We've got the plate that we mount down to the roof itself on top outside, and then this has got these little screws in this point here where they screw onto. And then this one is the bit to go on the inside of the vehicle, which looks extremely plain and boring, so we might have to do something with that later. But what we've got to do, first thing we've got to do is we've got to go on the roof of the vehicle, we've got to clean it all up and then mark out a 400 by 400 square. What I'm going to do is this adapter plate, this just happens to be 400 by 400 square, so I can take this up and I can use this to draw a line out. So let's get on the roof, let's get it cleaned up and let's mark a square out. Right, so what I've done is I've used this ribbed adapter here just to draw around. As you can see there, I've used that and I've centered it onto the roof. This panel here is the exact center of the roof. So I just held it up there, I centered it with a tape measure, and then I drew around the inside, and now we've got a 400 by 400 marked hole there, and as you can see, it'll fit nice and flat down to this flat area. So what I need to do is I need to tape this off. I'll tape it on the outside because you don't want any swarf getting between the jigsaw and the paintwork because it'll scratch it and then rust. So we'll get that taped off now. Right, so that's taped off nicely. What I've got here, I've got a 10mm drill bit. I just need to drill a hole, one in each corner so I can get the jigsaw in and then I can cut it out. Right, 4 holes are in. Before I go any further, what I will do is I'll just hoover up these little bits of swarf here, because just to save dragging them about on the roof. And then I'll get the jigsaw and we'll get this cut out. Right, holes cut. It's super important now that we hoover up all these little shavings, because any of those left on the roof, they're just going to rust straight away. So I'm going to get those hoovered up. Then we need to get a file, go inside and just file off the edges before we give them a little bit of a paint. Right, so if I take this file and I'll just pull it towards me, and we'll just clean up these burrs. And the same as what we did with the windows, I'll just take one of these, we'll dip it in this hammerite, and I'm just going to go around and just paint out the bare metal bits. Right, that's that job done. Next thing I need to do is I need to make a batten frame, the same as what we did with the windows here. So what I'll do is I'll get some of this 25mm batten, and I'm going to make a 400mm square frame, just the same as I did with these windows. What I'll do though is I'll make it a couple of mil bigger, just because I don't want it too tight. I'd rather it go through nice and easy. So I'm going to make it like 402 or something like that. So I'm going to cut one of those out and make one of those now. I might as well make two actually while I'm at it. Right, I've got two frames made down there, one for each Skylight. What I need to do now is get some of this Puraflex 40, put it in the gun. We'll put a bead all the way around one of these, and then we'll stick it up to the roof. Right, that's that frame stuck up. What I've done is I've just used some of these props just to hold it up for now until I get some screws in. The whole point of this is so when we put in the frame down from the top, we've got something meaty to screw into instead of just the metal, so we can pull up into the wood and it'll hold it up nicely. Right, so we're going to go up the top now, and we need to get the top frame in. Right, here we are up the top. This is the bit that needs to go in from the top. So the first thing we need to do is get some of that Puraflex, put a decent bead of it around here, and then we'll put it in the hole. When we put it in, it's got these screws on the side there. These screws need to go to the outsides, not the front and back. They need to go to the sides. Right, next thing we need to do is all the way around the edge, there's some little dimples. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little small drill bit here, and I'm going to pre-drill them all the way through into the wood. That'll give a good start for the screws to go in. Right, that's done. Now to screw it down using the screws that came in the packet. Right, that's all that done now, that's stuck down. What I've done is the bits that squidged out the edge, I've literally just smoothed it around. I've put some more of the Puraflex over all the screw heads. It doesn't particularly have to look super pretty out here, it's more the fact that all this needs to be waterproof, that's the main thing. So what I've done is I've just Puraflexed everything else around the edge. Right, so what we need to do now is we need to get the fan, we need to manually lift it up, and then screw it on to these 4 screws there. Right, so we can get access to these screws at the side, what we need to do is we need to open it up. So to manually open it, we just need to turn that. As you can see there, we're lifting up. So I just need to open this up far enough so I can get to those screws at the side. And what I'll do is I'll place it on there where these screws are. I've got some screws here that came in the packet. I'll get that screwed on. So the 4 screws in the side to hold it down. There we have it, one Maxxair fan fitted. Let's go in the inside and see what it looks like from there. Right, there we are, that's it from the inside all fitted. Ugly as hell, don't look really nice at all, but it'll give us the ventilation we need. We can move it manually, just to move it up and down for now. So we'll close that up. Right, next job, we need to do this Skymaxx. Before we do, what we're going to do is, I think in this episode I'm going to give away another one of these Carpodgo devices. If you don't know what this is one that I've got open already. What this is it's a nice little screen there. These sit on your dashboard, and this will allow you to have CarPlay or Android Auto or anything like that on any vehicle. So if your vehicle has not got any of the smart things in your car stereo system, these will give you CarPlay or whatever wirelessly, and there's a few different ways of connecting to your car stereo using this. These are great little things. These ones particularly, the Carpodgo, these are one of the best I've reviewed. I mentioned in one of my older videos that Carpodgo have given me a few of these to give away. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that again today. I'll put a link down below to this particular one where I tested it and ran it and set it up and showed you all how to use it. So what we will do is we'll do the same as we did in the last video. If you want one of these, type Carpodgo in the comments down below, and then what I'll do is after a month of releasing this video, check out the description below because I don't actually know when I'm going to be releasing this video, and that'll give you the closing date. And then what I'll do is I'll run one of those random comment pickers, and the first one that comes up that says Carpodgo in the comments, type anything you want in the comments, but make sure the word Carpod goes in it. I'll give an email address out when I do the random comment picker thing, and then send your details to me, and I'll send you one of these out in the post. Don't give your details out to anybody else except to the email that I give you on that draw day. So comment Carpodgo below if you want one of these. Right, let's get back to fitting this Skymaxx vent thing. Actually, I'm going to have a coffee first. I'll see you back in a minute. Right, with the rear one, I want to get it as far back as I can to give the gap between the two as big as possible so I can get my solar in. So what I'm going to do is have a look here. I've got to fit it in this gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark there. I'm going to drill a hole through so then I know where to start the beginning of the template upstairs. Right, here's the pencil marks. What I've done is I've taken the wood from this edge here and I've taken it up to there. That's where it's going to go, so that'll be the beginning of the hole, and then 400mm back will come to there. That's where the wood will sit, so there's plenty of room behind the vent. So that's exactly where I'm going to put it. So it's right at the back of the vehicle as far as I can get it. Right, so the Skymaxx roof light, this is what you get. This is the roof light itself. It's a tinted model. It's got some little markings that we can drill through to put the screws through to screw it down, similar to the fan. Inside the packet you get these screws. You get these little blanking plates here because it's got these little vent panels here. You can pull these out and change them for those solid ones, which I am going to do. On the inside you get the blackout blind and the fly screen that pulls across. This looks a million times better than the one that came with the fan. This one's also got LED lights in as well. These are really cheap actually. I think it was about £140 or something like that. A lot cheaper than the fan. And this looks a lot nicer as well. We get a plate there. This one's for the inside, so once we've got the roof up, we can fit that plate up. And then it's got some really long screws that'll screw up into this to hold it all together a lot better than what it'll be when it's just basically screwed down on its own. And then this will clip to it. Right, so the next thing I need to do is I need to go on the roof. I need to mark out where we're drilling the holes. We've got that adapter plate as well. We're going to have a look at the one with the little ridges in, the profiles. So I'll see you up on the roof. Right, here we are at the back of the roof. Down here you can see the hole that I've drilled up. This is the beginning of the marking where the vent is going to sit. Here I've got the Fiamma profile bit. What that does is that sits in there and it sits within the ridges all nicely and gives us a nice flat bit there to seal down onto. So what we need to do is line up this hole there with the beginning of it, draw a square round with the pen, take that off, get all this cleaned up first obviously, masking tape it round, cut the hole out. I need to get a load of sealant in there all the way round, then we can stick that down and then get the batten underneath, get the vent, stick it on and screw it all together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this roof off. I'll put that there, I'll mark it out where we've got to cut it, take that off, masking tape, cut it out with the jigsaw, get the Puriflex sealant on there, we'll stick that down and then we'll be ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the wooden batten and I'll stick that up and I'll prop it up and then we'll be ready literally then to screw down the vent. So I'll get a bit of a time lapse of all this and I'll see you when this is done. Right, there we are, it's all cut out, we've got the batten in, I've got it propped up again. Let's go up on the roof. Right, so on the roof we've got the profile stuck down. That'll squidge out more as we screw the skylight down. What you should probably do is get a load of clamps around it and wait till it goes off, but we don't need to do that. What we can do is literally, we can screw this down and then we'll get the cover that goes up and we'll screw that up and we'll clamp it all that way instead. Right, so I've put a decent bead of sealant all the way around. I'd rather have too much than not enough. It's more important to be waterproof than it is to look pretty up here. So right, I'm going to turn that over now and I'm going to stick it in that hole. Right, there we are, it's in the hole. Obviously I've got the hinge to the front of the van, and so it opens up towards the back because we don't want the wind grabbing it and lifting it up as we're driving. So we've put the hinge to the front. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pilot hole these little markings here at the front. Then I'm going to open it and do the ones at the back as well and screw it down front and rear and get some sealant and put it over these here and make everything waterproof. Then I'll put a bit more around the edge and make it all nice. So I'll see you back in a second. Right, there we are, that's that in. I've screwed it in and then covered it over with sealant. I've gone around all the edge with the sealant again. It doesn't have to look super pretty, it just has to be waterproof. So that's all screwed down now. I've changed these vent covers there for the solid ones, just so I don't have a breeze blowing in all the time. And that's it, done. Let's go inside. Right, that's all done. I've done a little bit more on the inside. What I've done here is I've put another bit of batten on there just to hold it for now, so I can put this bottom bit on, and I've screwed it all up nice and tight, so everything's tightly clamped up just while that sealant goes off. I'll take that down when I go to put the roof up. But that's it. If we just close that up, that clicks into place there. That's that done. Obviously in here we've got this cover to put on once the roof's up. This has got the LED lights in. It's got fly screen on this side, blackout blind on this side. So that'll go in the roof once the roof goes up. To be honest, all this looks a lot better than this Skymaxx fan. So hopefully the fan's worth it, because you can actually buy 2 of these for one of those fans. But that's it, that's all that fitted. So right, so don't forget to comment Carpodgo in the comments if you want to win one of those. Comment anything else you want to comment. Like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of this build. I don't know what we'll be doing next time. I'm kind of just filming films as I get to do bits, and then I'm putting them out as I get a chance to put them out. So don't forget to subscribe. So whatever the next video is, I'll catch you in that. Cheers. Workshop's tidy. Back of the van's tidy. Ooh, that took some doing.